Three, two, one.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Today, in our vlog Dissecting Propaganda, we will discuss the important aspect of propaganda, and that is the emergence of media in many forms. Historically, if you look at the Gutenberg project, because it all began from a print media. Print media evolved into somehow there was a revolution. There was a camera, and then we had VCRs, and then now there was emergence of CNN and BBC, and now we have Twitter. So, in the globalization, we have seen that media has evolved in our lifetimes, and media has a significant and inevitable impact on the political views and public opinion at large. So, how the media does propaganda? One aspect of it is the Hollywood movies. Every state make movies, and these movies create a self-image of the country, and that imagery, that diction, that vocabulary of the states, and then they convey a very subtle way. They convey a very political messages. They create a narrative, and on the basis of that ideology, they justify their political, otherwise, which are immoral, unethical, politically incorrect actions. So that's one way of doing it, and then the other media is the news media, that we have the political shows on our media, the domestic media that we have, and journalists has to play a very vital role in any society. It is a very noble profession, and the journalism means stating truth, nothing but the truth, calling a spade. But we have seen that activism can have their own agendas, political agendas, and journalists tend to become activists as well. Activism and journalism go hand in hand. So there are in Pakistan, for example, right now the phenomena of Pakistan is the public is divided. There is a polarization in society. The media is divided at large. You can identify the channels, news channels, and you can tell that this is the pro-government media channel and this is the anti-government media outlet. So why is this happening? And then one of the Noam Chomsky that has mentioned about the media, that these media houses, the owners of these media houses are filthy rich. They propagate the political views of the elite class. They don't, they are not pro poor people. They have nothing to do what is happening with the common man. They don't fight the case of a common man. Rather, they are more interested in fighting the case of their specific, of their class. They represent their class. And so now we have seen that media has become an instrument of fighting the hegemon, of that hegemonic space that we have created, of the political space that we have at the state level and the government level. And media has become that instrument where they are negotiating their own interest. Media houses are negotiating their own interest, their political interest, rather representing the true values of a journalism. And those values means stating, for example, if there is a state-sponsored violence is taking place. So we also have the regulatory bodies, the media regulatory bodies, And media regulatory bodies do not work on the principle that there has to be transparency, but rather they work on the principle that if they get instructions to black out any political leader or any activist or any other journalist, they would do that. So speaking truth in any times of the history is a very revolutionary act, and somehow whatever fascist space, what in a fascist state, whatever space we have, whatever political space, that narrow space we have to have a debate and to have a dialogue, we must be able to do that. So media houses are the propaganda houses. These are the propaganda machines. They formulate the public opinion at large, and there's a huge investment. Political parties invest in the media houses. There are favors. There are political favors given by the political parties, the people in government, to the media personals and to the media houses. And that nexus between the journalism and the politicians is working against the public interest. And the public interest means to discuss the public policies, to talk about the issues that matter to us, to have a serious, real, tangible, solution-oriented debate. And that's the need of the time that we have. Because in any state of the time, whatever the current crisis is in Pakistan, there is a possibility, there is a way out, and that way out is moving forward with the democratic norms, with the parliamentary practices. And that can only happen when the civil society will become vibrant again, when we will have a debate, and that debate has to take place somewhere. That has to begin today or tomorrow at some point of a time. Otherwise, there will be a degeneration in society, and that degeneration will cost us a heavy loss. That will cost us our political space, because non-democratic forces have occupied the political space, and media is the beneficiary of giving up that legitimate space to those forces. That's the problem. That's the major problem that democracy in Pakistan is facing today. So we will continue our discussion by identifying other elements who are doing propaganda, and we will reflect on them. Inshallah, we will look at the research methodology from research-oriented point of view, what is happening in other countries as well. But media plays a very vital role, and you cannot ignore it. It is the essential part of your life now. Sooner or later, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, or you open a television. It is there, it exists there, and they have their full-time running shows based on the propaganda and misinformation and the fake information, fake news. So as a student of a political science, as a student of history, I think we must identify those forces which are propagating the wrong beliefs. And wrong beliefs means a society cannot reach to its meaningful conclusion. We cannot reach to the political solutions. We cannot have the political resolution of the existing crisis. And there are certain forces which do not want society to have the political resolution, because they are the beneficiary of that crisis. Thank you very much.